Today, we're going to be covering contrast within the principles of design. While the elements of art are what artists use to make art, the principles of design are what artists use to make art pretty. Contrast in art refers to how different things work together on a single surface. Or in other words, it is different things that are being represented in the same piece. Now, this could be anything from texture to color to pretty much any of the other principles or elements of art that we've covered up to this point. As an example, this is a very famous artwork by Andy Warhol, and it's in a series of artworks called Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was rated, and if I'm not mistaken, still is rated as being the most beautiful woman who ever lived. You can assume that she obviously did not wear her makeup like a clown. This is in direct contrast to how she would normally appear. There's also contrast in the color schemes. The purple and the yellow are what is known as a complementary color scheme, or in other words, they are opposite each other on the color wheel. This creates contrast whenever the viewer is looking at the artwork with the contrasting colors. Another way that you can have contrast is with texture. For instance, in Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory, also known as The Melting Clock more commonly, but in actuality that is a totally separate artwork altogether, there are several bits of contrast within this piece. The first one I want to look at is the contrast in the mountains versus the fleshy blob that is down on the center of the screen. The fleshy blob is actually a melted face, and you can see the eyelashes as well as a quivering eyebrow that's melted down into a nose, then goes down to a chin, and then over to a collarbone. Now, obviously that is in direct contrast to how we would normally perceive people to look, as well as the clocks being melted, also contrast there as well. Basically, contrast is different things with different properties being shown together on an artwork. For instance, a fluffy cloud next to a rocky mountain. That would be contrast. Your assignment for today, you are going to be creating your very own artwork that shows contrast. You are not allowed to copy off your neighbor. You are allowed to look up references online if you so choose to, but you are not allowed to copy those references. You are allowed to look at them for inspiration, but you are not allowed to plagiarize. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.